Hi everyone, welcome to the series Learn Java in Depth. Today we are going to discuss about control statement. So let us see first what is statement. So a Java statement is the smallest unit that is a complete instruction in itself. Sometimes in Java generally contains some expressions and end with a semicolon. So the two most commonly used statement in any programming language is statement, that is sequential statements, and control statement. So what is sequential statement? These are the statements which are executed one by one. And what is control statement? These are the statements that are executed randomly and repeatedly. So these are also followed by the Java. Now let us see some statements first. So let's say these are some statements. So these statements are executed by the JVM one by one in a sequential manner. So they are called as sequential statement. But this is the type of sequential statement executed is useful only to write some simple Java programs. But if you want to write some better and complex program, we need better control on how the flow of execution is done. So this is possible by using the control statement. So let us see what are the types of the control statement is available in Java. So first control statement is if-else statement. Second is do-while statement. Third is while statement. Fourth is for loop. Fifth is nested for loop. Next is for each loop. Then switch statement. Then break statement. Continue statement and return statement. So in this video, we are going to discuss about first five, and the next five statement we will be discussing in upcoming video. So let us start with the first as for this if statement. So this statement is useful to perform a task depending on whether a given condition is true or false. A task represents a single statement or a group of statements. So let us see what is the syntax to define in Java. This is the syntax like if there should be some conditions, if this condition is satisfied, then it will come to the if block, or if this condition is failed or not satisfied, then it will go to the else block. Then this statement will be executing. And there are some other statement also. So there are, this is called like a hierarchy of if else basically. So let's see, here we have one condition. Based on this condition, if this condition is satisfied, it is going to the this block, otherwise it is going to the else block, right? But in this case there are multiple conditions. So let's say condition 1, if condition 1 is satisfied, then it is going to execute the statement 1, else it will go to the next condition. If condition 2 is satisfied, then it is going to execute the statement 2, otherwise it is again going to the next block like else if condition, and if this condition is satisfied, then it is going to execute the statement 3, otherwise it will execute the statement 4. So basically at a time only one condition can satisfy. So let's say first condition itself is satisfied, it will execute the statement 1 and then it will come out to the this if else block. Now let us understand with the example itself. Let's go to the id, any of the id. Let's say IntelliJ id, and we have already created the package here, and I have created one class called test class. So let's create here main method first. Okay, and let's write some statement. So let's say if you want to write a Java program to test if a number is positive or not. So there will be condition, right? Either it can be positive or a negative. So how can we achieve by using this control statement? So let's write some logics here and then understand. So let's first declare some variable. Let's say int num equal to some number, and we want to write the Java program that is going to test this number is positive or not. Okay, so let's write some if else statement. So we'll write first if, then here we will write the conditions to check that any number is positive or not. We can check like if that number is greater than of 0 or not. If that number is greater than 0, it means it is a positive. If it is less than 0, it means it is a negative. If it is equal to 0, it means that the number itself is a 0, it's not a positive or not a negative. So that is the edge case that is also we need to handle it. Let's handle that. If number equal to 0, let's print that some statement like system dot out dot println and print here like it is 0 because it is not a positive, not a negative, right? And then let's write another conditions. That is how we can write it. We will write with the else if, right? This is what is the syntax we have seen here. If we have multiple conditions, if more than two condition, we will go with this. If it is having a two condition only, then we will go with the if else condition only. So in our case, we can see that to check the number is positive or not, there would be three conditions. First is like if number itself is a zero, right? That is the first condition. Then second condition is like if number is greater than zero. So like if number is greater than zero. So what does it means? It means that number is a positive. So let's print the same some statement here to check that. So let's say this number, whatever the number is there, then concat with some string statement like is positive, right? Else, if it is not a zero and if it is not greater than zero, then it should be like negative number, right? That is the default conditions. So the default condition will be going to the else part. So let's print some statement here also. So it means this number is negative. So this is how we can write that if else conditions if you want to check some things. So let's run this program and see. Right click, run that program. So in this scenario, what is the expected here? The 5 is greater than 0, right? So it is not equal to 0. It means it is going to the this block and it is going to print as a the number 5 is positive. So let's see in the output console. Yeah, so you can see that the showing it is showing like 5 is positive, right? If we can provide like some negative value itself here, and let's run this program and see. So basically this is not equal to 0, this is also not equal to greater than 0. So it means that it is going to execute this block, right? So it is going to print as number is negative. So if we can see the number minus 5 is a negative number. So this is how we can use that if else block. So right now we have seen like this example of this. So let us write some program to evaluate this, right? So let us write here only. So let's comment this part first. So let's say we have a scenario like we want to check that number is odd or even, right? So let's say we create some number here and then give the number like any number like let's say 20, right? So what is the basic logic to check that number is odd or not? So there will be always two conditions, right? Either it is odd or even. There should not be any third condition. So in that scenario, basically we will use the first syntax like if conditions satisfied then some statement and then else some statement. So in our case we want to check that number is positive or not. So let's say how we can do that. So write the if statement to check that number is positive or not. How to math calculation? We'll simply divide that number basically with the 2. It means that this number even number. So let's print some statement here. Let's say system dot out dot println and let's print like number, then let's say some space is even, right? Else this is going to return like is odd, right? So in this kinds of scenario we will use if else block. If there is a more than one condition then we will go with the else if block. So let's run this program and see. So in this case 20 is what? 20 is a even or odd? Yes, it is even. So let's see, it is going to print the same value here also. So if we can see the output, it is showing 20 is an even number. If we can give any other number, let's say 27, so what it is going to print? It is going to print as odd number. 27 is odd number. So that is how we can use if else block or if else block, right? Let's move to the next control statement, that is do while statement. Basically, this is a kinds of loop. This loop is used when there is a need to repeatedly execute a group of statement as long as the condition is true. It means that earlier we saw that if statement is true, then we are printing it. Otherwise, we are printing as the else block. But if we want to print the statement repeatedly until and unless the condition is satisfied, then we will go with the do while loop. So if the condition is false, the repetition will be stopped and the flow of the execution come out to the do while loop. So let us see what is the syntax of the do while. So this is the syntax basically. First it will be do, then some statement, and then it will go to the while, and then it will check to the some condition. Let us write some Java programs and see how we can use in the simple Java programs basically. So let's write some other class. Let's say test do while. So let's see, if we want to write a simple Java program to display a number from 1 to 10. It means that we want to execute some statement that is going to print the number from 1 to 10, and once that it is reached to the number as 10, then it should stop that printing, right? So let us see how we can do it. So let's first write that main method, and then let's some declare some variable, let's say int x, that is we want to going to print. So let's see if we that number should be starting from the 1. So let's assign that value here first. So this is the first statement that we are going to assign as 1, right? And then let's write that do while loop. So what is the syntax for writing it? First should be do, and then curly bracket, and then there should be some statement, and then there should be some conditions inside the while. So what is the conditions? So first time we have assigned this x value as 1, right? So we want to print from value from 1 to 10. So it means that we are going to increment this variable one by one. And how we can do it? Let's copy this x here and then make it plus plus. So that is post increment. Why we have used post increment? Because we want to perform some operation first and then we want to increment it. So what is the statement? So that we want to print it basically. So how we can print it? Let's write the system.out.println and print this value. So what will happen? It will come inside the do block, then it will print this statement. What is the value of the x first? That is 1, and then it is going to increment. Then it will become as a 2. So here we have to write the condition something like x is what? X is less than or equal to 10, and then terminate it here. So it means that first it is going inside the do block, it is going to print this, and then it is going to increment it, then it is going to check that condition. What is the number here now? First it will be 1, and then second time it will be 2. So if 2 is less than equal to 10, then this is the condition is true. Then again it will go to the do condition. What is the value now? 2. So it will print it here, and then it will increment it. Now it will become as 3. Then again it will check 3 is less than equal to 10 or not. So it is true. So again it will go to the do. So it will go one by repeatedly. So basically we want to perform this statement repeatedly until and unless this condition is satisfied. So let's run this program and see. So if you can see, it is printing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, right? And after 10 means once that condition met here 10, then it has incremented to 11, and then it is check the condition. 11 is less than or equal to 10 or not. The condition becomes false. Then it come out to the loop basically. So what are the statement here we have written? So right now we have not written any statements. Let's write that statement and see it is coming here or not. So system.out.println. So let's see, we have write like do while statement or do while loop completed. So what will happen until and unless this condition is satisfied, it will go again and again inside the do block, and then it will execute this statement, whatever the statement that we have written. And once this is false, it will come out to the loop, and then it will print this next statement. So let's say we have written this next statement as do while loop completed, right? So let's run this program and see. Yes. So if you can see here, it is printing 1, 2, 3, 4 up to 10, and then after that it is printing like do while loop completed. It means that once it is become 11, so it is this condition is got false, and then it come out to the loop and printed this statement. So this is how we can use the do while loop. So if you can observe here, it is going here at least one time without checking the condition, right? So even though condition is false or true, it doesn't matter. At least one time it will go inside the do block, it will perform that operation, and then it will come out to the checking the conditions, right? Is there any other loop that we can check first condition and then perform some statements? Yes, there is another control statement that is called while loop. So what is while loop? The fundamental of this loop is also similar to the do while loop only. This loop repeat a group of statement as long as the condition is true. So once the condition is false, the loop statement is terminated basically. So let's see what is the syntax of this. So okay, so this is the syntax of the do while loop. So if you can see here, first it is checking the condition. So if you can see here, it is like while some conditions, and then it will execute this statement. So once this condition is true, then it is going to print that statement. Otherwise, it is going to break that loop and going to come out of the loop, right? So in a do while loop, the statements are executed first, right? We have seen that, and then the condition is tested. Whereas in the while loop, the condition is tested first, right? So condition will be tested like first, and if it is true, then only the statements are executed, right? So let us see some example and check that. Let's go to the IntelliJ and test it here only. So let's create another class and name it like test do loop. Okay, let's create main method. That should be small, and let's write some conditions. Let's write the previous program itself and see if you want to print the number from 1 to 10, how can we do using the while loop. So let's create some variable, let's say x, and then let's say initialize with 1, right? So in earlier, if you see in our previous program, what will happen? It is going to the do loop, and then it was executing this statement, right? But in while case, we will first check the condition like this: while x is greater than equal less than equal to 10, then it should come inside the while loop. If this condition is fails, it means that it should break the loop and it should come out of the loop. And whatever the statement that we have written here, it should print. So let's say we have written a statement something like system.out.println, and let's say we have written like while loop completed, right? So here, whatever the statement that we are going to write, it is going to print only if this condition is satisfied. So let's say what is the value of the x first? It is the value of 1. So 1 is less than equal to 10. Yes, condition is satisfied. It will come inside and it will print the statement. So let's say we have written like system.out.print, and let's say write the statement inside the loop, and let's say print that value, right? And let's run this program. So basically it will print the similar way, but in while loop it is going to check first this condition. If this condition is satisfied, then only it is going to come inside the loop and it will print it. So what is happening here, if you can see, we have missed one statement. That's why it is going again and again. We have not incremented it. So always it is finding like value of the x is 1. 1 is greater than equal to 100. So that's why it is going to print in an infinite loop. So let's stop this program and let's write some statement like after printing this statement, let's increment it. and run this program again and see the output. Yes, so if you can see, it has printed from 1 to 10 from the inside the loop, and then once that number become 11, so again it came here and check that 11 is less than equal to 10 or not. The condition is false. Then it break the loop. Basically, it didn't insert the loop and come out of the loop, and then it has executed the next statement. So next statement that we have written here like while loop completed. That's what it has printed here. So this is how we can use that. If we want to execute the statement at least one time without checking the condition, then we will go with the while loop, do while loop. And if we want to perform or execute the statement only if the condition is true, then we will go with the while loop. Let's see what is the next control statement available in Java. So next control statement available in Java is for loop. So the for loop is also the same as do while or while loop, but it is most compact syntactically. How it is? So this is the syntax of the for loop. So please compare the expression in the preceding for loop. So let us understand the syntax of this for loop and the meaning of each statement. Okay, so let us understand the syntax of the for loop and compare with the while loop or do while loop. So let us go to the program. So if you see here, we have write the statement here like x equal to 1 means here we have initialized the value, and that initialization is going to be happen only once, right? The same thing we can do with the for loop with the compact way. Like here the first expression is nothing but the initialization expression. So in this case it will be become like x equal to 1, and the second expression is nothing but the conditional statement, that is this statement. So that is the responsibility of comparing each and type that condition is true or not. And third statement like incremented, decremented. So that is nothing but the modifying, right? Modifying this expression. So that will tell like what is the value that we want to modify. So initially we have assigned the value x equal to 1. Next time onward we want to make the value as incremented by 1. And we will check the condition here. Until and unless this condition is satisfied, it is going to execute. So if you see that while loop or do while loop, we are writing something like this. So instead of writing in the different line, we can use the for loop and write is the most compact syntactically like this. So let us take an example in Java and see how we can use it. Let's create one another class and see how we can use the for loop in Java. So test for loop. Let's create the main method and let's write the simple Java program to display again. So let's see how we can perform the same operation in using the for loop. So first we can define some variable. Let's say declare it like x, and instead of defining the variable here or initializing the variable here, we can directly do it inside the for loop itself. So what is the syntax for that? First expression is the initialization step. So that is like x equal to 10. Even we no need to define it here. We can directly do it inside for loop only. So let's close this basically. Let's write here it only. So in for loop, it is allowed to create the variable here itself because this variable is not going to use anywhere of the program, right? We want to use inside this for loop only. So there is no sense to define this variable outside of this loop. So that is how the enhancement of the for loop, it is give the more compact syntactically. We can do all three operations like this one, defining the variable, checking the conditions, and then modifying that variable in a three if statement. Instead of that, we in the for loop, we can do in a one line itself. So int x equal to, let's say, 1, okay? And then this condition. So what should be the condition? Condition should be like x is less than equal to 10. This is how we have done that. And then let's say modifying. So x plus plus. Then starting the loop and then providing some statement like let's say system dot out dot println and print this value. So what will happen? First it will come here initialization state, it will check the number, then it will go to check the conditions basically. So 1 is less than equal to 10 or not, it is true. Then it will come inside this loop and then it will execute this statement. Then it will go to the this modifying state and then it will increment the value of the x, and then again it will come to the condition state and will check the value now become as 2, right? So 2 is less than equal to 10 or not. Okay, it is satisfying. Again it will come inside the loop and the flow will goes on until and unless the value becomes 11, right? So let's say this reach to the last statement and this value is now printed as 10, and then it will go to the here, then it will print increment the value, then it will become 11, then it will go to the conditional statement here, then 11 is equal less than equal to 10 or not, the condition is false, then it will break the loop. It means it will not go inside the loop, it will go outside of the loop and execute this statement. What are the statement we have written? So let's say we have written a statement like system dot out dot println, let's say, right, like for loop completed. So let's run this program and see the output. Yes, so you can see that the output become like 1 to 10, 1 to 10, and then it has come out of the loop and then printed the next statement. That is nothing but the for loop completed. So this is how you can use the for loop in Java. We will see more example using these all three loops in upcoming video, basically in a programming section. How can we write the program using these loops? And then we will understand more like what is the use actually use in Java. So let's move ahead and see. So basically, this is what we have understand. So this is the initialization state, this is the conditional expression, and third one is like modifying expression, right? So let us see for loop can also be written as some other way or not. So like in while statement, we are able to write this initialization state here, declaration and initialization, and then we are checking the conditions, and then we are doing some modifying state, right? So this things is also possible in for loop itself. So how we can do it? Instead of writing here, this is allowed to do outside of the loop also, like this. So and instead of writing here, we can write it after the statement. So this is also a valid case in case of for loop. So this case will be useful. Let's say we want to perform some operation on this x after the execution of loop. So let's give an example like we want to check this value is less than equal to 10 or not. If it is became false, then it came out of the loop and then it has printed this loop, right? Let's see what is the value that it became that makes this false, right? So let's print that value here only. So let's print this value as this and see what was the value. So in we are knowing that it is going to be make as 11 and then only it will break this condition, right? So let's print this and see that output. So if you can see till 11 it is inside going inside the loop and then it was printing it. Once it became 11, then it was comparing here, the condition was making false, so it is coming out of the loop and then executing this statement, right? So if we want to use this x variable outside of the loop also for some purpose, then we can go with this syntax if we want to use the for loop, or we can simply go with the this while loop itself. But we will see more differences between what is the difference between do while and for loop. So this is the another way we can write it basically that we have seen in this example. And there is also another way to write this syntax basically in Java like this. So what we are doing here is we are doing some expression first, right? Expression first, then we are writing some for loops, then we are writing some statement and then some expression, right? So let's write the same thing and see the impact physically. So we have written this some expression. So let's say this is the expression x equal to 1 and we have not written anything this one. And then it will come inside, print it. So basically this is the compile time it is able to detect like unreachable statement. We will see why it is not able to reach it. because what is happening here? So first value is initializing to x equal to 1. Then it will come to the conditions, right? That is the flow of the for loop. It will come to the condition part. So since there is no conditions, what will happen? Java will not give any error. It will treat it like this condition, there is no condition means the condition is satisfied or the condition is not required at all. Then it will come inside the loop and then it will execute this statement. Then it will come here and then it will increment the value of the x. Now will become 2. Then it will not go here because we have performed the same operation here itself. Then again it will go to the condition. And then again it will find like there is no condition. It means that either no condition is required or condition is true. So basically it will going again and again and again until unless it didn't find the condition. So since there is no condition, so this is going to become as a infinite loop. So this is how we can perform the if we want to print the infinitely. Let's run this program and see. It is going to print like x value infinite number of time until unless the reaches to the out of memory. So if you can see continuously it is printing, right? It is not stopping it. It will print until unless the memory is reached to that label basically. So let's stop it. We don't want to break that system. Yes. So if you see, it is continuously printing one by one number. So if you can see 68, 6 lakh 86,550, then 551, 552, 3, 4, 5, and so on. So this is how we can do to perform the infinite way. And if we want to write that conditional logic inside the block, that is also possible. So how we can do it? There is a multiple way. First is like, let's say we will write like if x becomes less than equal to 10. So the same condition we can apply like using the if block. If that is the condition, then come inside and then print that value. It means that it is going, the loop will be continuously executing, but if this condition is met, it is going to print. Let's run this program and see the output. Basically we will see like it is going to print 1 to 10 and then continuously loop will be going on but it will not print anything. So if you see continuously it is going on and it has printed the value 1 to 10 also that we have not seen basically. So let's see how to break the if we come across these kinds of situation and if you want to perform some operation and then break it, how can you do it? So there is another control statement that is called break control statement that we will be discussing in detail in later point of video. So let's write this statement and see the effect directly here. Let's stop this program. So what will happen? It will come here, it will print it, and then it will break it. So if you can see, first it's enter here. Let's check the condition x is less than equal to 1 or not. So first time the value was 1. The 1 is less than equal to 10 or not. Condition is satisfied. It has printed and then it has break. Break means it will come out of this loop itself. And then it didn't enter inside the again for loop. So that's why we are only able to see one value. So this is the use of the one, I mean break. We will see in detail in next upcoming video. So basically that's all for today's video. So let's see what are the important interview questions that we have come across. So first is what are the first interview question, that is what are control statements. So what are control statement that we have already seen. Control statements are the statement which alter the flow of execution and provide better control to the programmer on the flow of execution. They are useful to write better and complex program. So that is the use of the control statement, right? We can use using this control statement, we can write the better and complex program. And if you want to write the simple Java program, we can use simply sequential statement instead of writing the control statement. So this is the difference between control statement and sequential statement and what is the control statement. And next interview question is like out of do while and while, which one is efficient? So as you know the use of the do while and while loop, you can easily tell the differences and the efficiency. So in a do while loop, the statements are executed without testing the condition that we have seen, right? The first time. From the second time only, the condition is going to be observed. This means that the programmer does not have any control right from the beginning of its execution, right? But in a while loop, the condition is tested first and then only the statements are executed. This means it provides a better control right from the beginning. Hence, while loop is more efficient than do while loop. But since there are multiple control statements, we have to know each and everything, because sometimes we want to execute the statement first and then we want to check the condition. In that kinds of scenario only, we'll go with the do while. Otherwise, while loop is better because it gives the more control over the do while. So that's all for the today's video. In next upcoming video, we are going to discuss remaining control statement in Java. So stay tuned. We'll meet you soon. Thank you.